How do you trust yourself right now to dream that dream of that unbound person that you haven't become yet? You don't know their priorities. You don't know what they are. You don't know what they want or don't want. Do you get what I'm saying to you? All right, look. If you click this video because you believe yourself to be ambitious but lazy, I'm going to warn you right now that you're going to want to turn this video off and move on and reject what I'm telling you at certain points. But the matter of the fact is this. If you actually listen to what I'm about to tell you, I can promise you absolutely will see change. And when you do, I want you to come back to this comment section in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and tell me all about it. Tell me how your worldview has changed and how you no longer feel ambitious but lazy. Okay? Okay. Let's get started. If you're ambitious but lazy, either one of two things are happening. You're either lazy because of your ambition, or a far more problematic situation is you're ambitious because of your laziness. Okay, let's talk about the cure for both. For starters, anyone feeling this way has a long list of objections that we need to talk about. A common objection that I hear is market saturation, right? Oh, there's already a lot of people doing what I'm doing. Why should I do it? What chance do I have? What makes what I want to do any different? And this is a clear example of your ambition causing your laziness. On the other hand, another common objection might be, I have plenty of time. I'll find what I want to do someday, and when I do, that's when I'll get money and fame and glory and blah, 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 blah. This can feel positive. It can feel like a helpful outlook, but when paired with inaction, this is an example of your laziness causing your ambition, okay? So it's one of those two things. There's lots of crossover, okay? And the list goes on and on and on. I know what I meant to do, but I need money to do it. Otherwise, what I do is going to be trash and not worth doing at all. Or I know what I need to do, but I have a little bit more time before I start, so I'm just going to make the best of my time now, and then I'll kick it into gear. Then I'll start doing what I need to do. Okay? These are all common objections from people that feel ambitious but lazy. There's so many of these things that we tell ourselves when we have that fire of ambition inside of us, but we refuse to take action. And all of these things have one thing in common. They are all different versions of waiting for something to come and inspire us to take action, for change to happen, to show us the path forward, to give us that spark we need to finally transform into that person that we have the potential to become, that we know that is just right there. It's just out of reach. That's the person that we want to be. We can almost see it. We can almost feel it, okay? But here's the truth. What you have is a fantasy. It's not a goal. And that fantasy is very nourishing. And it feels so close, like it's just out of reach. It feels so close that actually it's kind of poisonous because it feels like a tangible reality that we've already earned, but we haven't earned it at all, right? But you already know this. You suffer from overthinking, and you live in a fantasy so often that when you disconnect from it and come back to reality, it can be super unmotivating. And you get in this cycle of escapism where you can't stand to be where you are at. So it feels better to just consider your inevitable success and how you'll spend your money and what kind of house you'll get and what kind of car you'll buy. I get it. I really do. But then you also have that feeling of time slipping away constantly. And sure, you might try things that are there to chip away at that wall between you and your dream once in a while, but the headway you make actually feels bad. It doesn't make you feel better. And why does it feel bad to work towards your goal, you wonder? I thought I was supposed to feel better, but I feel worse, okay? That's because the more you do, the more reality sets in, and you realize how far away you are from that goal, all right, of your dream, of your fantasy. And knowing how far away from you are from it is terrible. It's a terrible realization. And it feels way better like it when it's close. So you stop trying and it's like, oh, sweet relief. There it is again. So close. And I'm comforted by that fantasy again, right? And that fantasy of your ambition that is causing you to suffer, rather than the reality of inexperience or the inability to take risks or learn new things or stifled by financial situations, whatever it might be, okay? It feels way better to have that fantasy be close than to chip away with small actions and realize just how far you are away. Okay, so that being said, what's actually happening here, and how do we fix this, right? Well, if you think about how you're bouncing between little actions that feel like they go nowhere, and then waiting and doing nothing, and then living in the future rather than the present because you are rejecting the work, you are rejecting the present when you live in that fantasy, okay? Your suffering is actually twofold. Remember those two things I talked about earlier, your ambition causing your laziness or your laziness causing your ambition? Each of those two things have their own engine that runs your life. Each of them is like a separate sickness, and they share similar qualities. There's a lot of crossover here. Usually a person isn't one or the other. Usually they have both sicknesses eating away at them. At different times, at the same time, and that's why it can feel so impossible to want to do anything, to get away from that fantasy, to face reality, to get anything done, to work towards your goals, okay? If you're ambitious, or if your ambition is causing your laziness, then what you're suffering from is a sickness of time. More specifically, the inability to quantify progress as it relates to delayed gratification. That waiting around you're doing is because you don't have the experience of working over a long period of time to achieve something that is seemingly, at first, unachievable. You don't have that experience in your life and in your mind and in your heart to where, I know this seems impossible, I'm going to work at it, I'm starting to get better, okay, actually now I kind of know what I'm doing, okay, now I'm good at it, boom, I reached my goal, right? And on the flip side of that, if your laziness is causing your ambition, you're suffering from a sickness of ego. You're making the choice that who you think you are now is more important than admitting your faults and your flaws and your shortcomings and finding grace in the process of humbling yourself. You're holding on to the idea of your identity, who you are right now, so strongly. You believe yourself to be so smart, so talented, smarter than everybody else, so creative, right? Your success is inevitable. But when you take a step towards it, that kind of falls apart, and that's really terrifying. So there's a lot of crossover between the two. And there's some really important terminology to remember here, and I want to nail this down real quick. Humble confidence is you admitting that you are a beginner, forgiving yourself for being weak in terms of talent, skill, expertise, and then finding your confidence with each step you take towards your goals. Another way of saying that is that you're seeing things as they really are. You are living fully in the reality of your present situation rather than waiting on the fantasy from the future to come and save you. You are finding motivation in the small actions you take towards your goal, which, believe me, I know is easier said than done. But here is the trick. Case in point, you probably have the wrong goal. All that ambition you have is going to waste on the wrong goal. And here's how I know that. If you're ambitious but lazy, then there's already a dishonesty to the conversation you are having with yourself. There's a seriously high level of self-deception going on, right? That is the only way that you are stuck in that ambitious but lazy cycle. And in almost every way possible, you've not only accepted that you are your worst enemy, you know this, but you've joined forces with that person to lock you into the place you are and stop you from taking action towards the place that you want to be. Okay? These are the things we need to admit to ourselves. You possibly have the wrong goal. You are your worst enemy. You are the only person stopping you and getting in your own way. I don't think that you don't know all this. I think that you probably do. But so then all of this begs the question. If there's already a tremendous amount of self-deception happening, then where is this fantasy coming from? This thing that you use to sit in and feel comfortable and escape your present situation. Where is it coming from? Even if you have goals, where are those goals coming from? I'll tell you exactly where they're coming from. They are coming from a place of restriction. And this is really, really, really important for you to understand. They are coming from a place of limiting self-talk. They are coming from whomever you believe yourself to be right now, okay? Rather than the unlimited potential of the person that you want to become, all right? We're going to talk a little bit more about this. Bear with me. Really think about what I'm saying. Okay, so that person in the future The potential you is completely unbound, okay? You are, right now, you are stifled. So how do you trust yourself right now to dream that dream of that unbound person that you haven't become yet? You don't know their priorities. You don't know what they are. You don't know what they want or don't want. Do you get what I'm saying to you? The answer is you cannot, and you shouldn't. That's not your job. The job of present you right now, is to fail over and over and over so that that person in the future can succeed, okay? You are planting seeds now that by the time they grow and bear fruit, you will be someone completely different. So you need to stop looking so far down the road because you don't know, after all the obstacles and challenges that you overcome between now and then, who you're going to be in that moment. And that's what's stopping you. You're looking too far down the road. That's not the secret. I'm going to get to the secret. But listen, this is why you need to change your mantra. Your mantra needs to be in life, I might not have it all figured out, but I will. And I believe that. And I'll learn as I go. And this is just where I have to start. You just have to start right here, right now, and believe that you're going to figure it out as you go. Stop looking at the end goal. Start enjoying the process. You know, it's like Jordan Peterson has this wonderful axiom that says the bar that you set for yourself needs to be high enough to provide a challenge, but low enough to where there's a reasonable possibility of success, which anybody with ADHD will tell you is exactly how they get anything done. It has to be a little bit challenging to be interesting, but a little bit boring enough to where it doesn't require too much thought process. Otherwise, you get in an overthinking cycle. You don't do anything. You get analysis paralysis. You get locked in, and boom, there you are again. Now you need to escape. Now you need a distraction. Another problem is your basic reward system. Okay, you think what you earn from accomplishing low-hanging fruit isn't worth your time because you're not seeing the bigger picture. The cumulative efforts of many small things earned over time. You can't really grasp that concept. You make yourself averse to risk because you're reward focused. You're reward focused. That the light at the end of the tunnel doesn't interest you. The journey through the tunnel doesn't interest you. You're just obsessed with what's on the other side of the tunnel and the light. And it's one of the great ironies of life, okay? What I'm about to tell you is very important. It's one of the great ironies of life that you'll never reach the other side unless you kind of learn to be the type of person who's just obsessed with being in the tunnel. Don't worry about the light. Don't worry what's on the other side. You have to play the game and be willing to buy a ticket and lose in order to win. You cannot be worrying about the light. You cannot be worrying about that fantasy of what's going to happen when you finally succeed and how people are going to see you and how you're going to see yourself. You have to be the person that's okay with being in the shit, being in the tunnel, being lost in the darkness and fumbling your way through. There's never been another way. That's how people succeed. And the true test of all of this is when you actually go to put your money where your mouth is. If you have to sign up for even like a $30 a month subscription for some online tool you need, or when you have to place that first order for a product that you need or something that you're going to sell or whatever you need to get your dream going, okay? The second we have to spend money on it, that's when that negative self-talk really starts to shout. You really start to kind of talk yourself out of things because how are we going to be the next big YouTuber if we don't even have the right camera or editing software or cool effects? How are we supposed to be a professional in whatever field we're interested in if we don't even know the basics yet? And that's what I mean when I say that the reality of being at the bottom of the mountain just makes you think about how fucking tall that mountain is, right? You think you're going to get there by imagining yourself at the top, but you don't. You get there by taking a step up the mountain. But here's how to kill all of those objections, okay? And you're not going to like the answer. I want you to hear what I'm about to tell you, regardless of how it hits your ear or your brain and whether you reject it immediately or you want to click off the video or whatever. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear. This is the video. Congratulations, you won the jackpot. I'm going to tell you exactly how to fix your problem. If you want to kill your laziness, you need to kill your ambition. You need to get rid of both. Let me explain this, please, because there's something that you're definitely not understanding when I say this. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the problem of feeling ambitious but lazy, okay? Remember what I said about your goals probably being the wrong goals? Well, that's because I know something that you don't, which is this. The steps you take towards success are all made out of failures. Failures that hurt so bad and cut so deep that they change you. They change your essence. They change your perspective. They change how you see yourself and how you treat people. The failures that you will endure from, ambition generally means you have a lofty goal. To get there, you're going to have to really fail and eat some hard truths. And the process of doing that literally will change however you think you're going to spend that money, however you think you're going to act when you're successful. The actual person that you become will have been a little humbled, a little bit more confident, a little bit more resilient. You have to realize that you have to kill that ambition. You have to get rid of that final image in your head to make any headway towards it, okay? So don't define yourself as ambitious but lazy. Just define yourself as someone that's working on something. You have to get rid of that label, okay? But I have something even more important to tell you. Failure happens up. Inaction happens down. With each failure, you're climbing the mountain. With each thing you don't do, you're sinking deeper into a hole. So you need to be someone that is not only okay with wasting money or possibly getting scammed or making the wrong choice. You need to be laissez-faire about it. You need to not care at all because your eyes are on the prize, okay? You're playing a long game that you're invested in. So who cares if you waste $200 today because of a wrong choice you make? You don't need all the answers right now. You're inexperienced, remember? Why would $200 wasted today matter at all when the goal for you is to make $20,000 a month in 16 months from now, okay? I'm a big fan of money doesn't buy happiness, okay? So I'm not saying that should be your overall goal. What I am saying is that failures are the cost of entry, okay? That is the cost of your education. All the money that you lose or failures that you have, that is your tuition to the game of life for people who think that they happen to reality rather than reality happening to them. And here's the truest part of this video, okay? Here's the thing that you've been waiting for, the truth about your laziness and ambition. I've been waiting to say it because it's kind of harsh. Bear with me. And I want you to hear this like as if I'm your friend. And I'm telling you this like a friend to a friend. I really want you to hear it, okay? And it sucks to hear. If you're ambitious but lazy, you're really not either. You're immature. Your view of yourself and the world around you is neither complete nor true. Forgiveness of yourself and others, courage to take risks, resilience to keep going after failure and failure and failure. These are the qualities that you will get when you grow the fuck up and stop being immature. Being ambitious but lazy at its core is you being immature, okay? I know that sucks to hear, okay? I don't know if you didn't get enough hugs as a child or you got too many. Life can be really, really hard for some people. It can be a little bit easier for others. But the world doesn't owe you anything. You've earned nothing. And that fantasy of yours is probably just as immature. What you're going to spend the money on and everything you do. And I know that's harsh, dude. I know it. But sometimes the truth sucks, dude. If you honestly, in your heart of hearts, believe yourself to be ambitious but lazy and you think I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. And I'm sorry to say this, okay? But you can't because I'm not. And I know that because I was ambitious but lazy. And the day that it all changed for me is when I realized, oh, I'm not either of those things. I'm just really fucking immature. And that's the day that changed my life. So here's the last thing that I want to tell you. What you want in life has almost nothing to do with what you get. And what you get out of life has everything to do with getting out of your own way and letting it happen. Immaturity, especially as you get older and older and older, is you causing you problems. It's you getting in your own way. So if you want to stop being lazy and ambitious, okay, then you need to start being your biggest cheerleader. Be excited about what you're doing and look for opportunities to roll the dice and make mistakes and fail and make progress, okay? That's the only way to do it. You cannot possibly sit around all day thinking that something's going to fall in your lap. You have to really believe in your heart that you are that one out of a million that's going to succeed, okay? Henry Ford was absolutely right when he said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. Whatever you tell yourself as your biggest enemy or your biggest cheerleader, you're probably right. If you tell yourself it's not worth your time, it's not worth your time. If you tell yourself you're that one out of a million that's going to make it, then you probably will. But you're in action, you're living in that fantasy and in the future and beyond the tunnel and beyond the light, and not being a person that feels comfortable learning and not admitting the reality of your present situation and your inexperience and inability. That's what's holding you back, dude. It's ego. It's not being able to conceptualize working something over a long period of time. That's what's stopping you. That's what you need to change. Okay? All right. Sorry to be so fucking harsh on this video, but I've been there myself. I know what got me to change. And the realization that that was my problem, yeah, that was my problem. I think that I felt like the world owed me something. And the second that I stopped believing that, I got a lot out of it. Okay? So, I love you guys. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this helped you. If you know someone that feels like this, show them the video. So, yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.